What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. We are a week out now from the PlayStation 5 releasing, and wouldn't you know it, people are already getting the thing early. Seriously, I don't know if it was early shipments, I don't know if it snuck out of a warehouse or it fell off the back of a truck, doesn't matter. People are posting different videos of the system in action online now, confirming different things for us, like the amount of storage space that's available to us, even a 12-second boot up time from being completely powered down. It's pretty impressive stuff, but we're gonna talk about that storage space because it has been confirmed now, and on top of that, Activision announced how much space you will need to reserve for Call of Duty, and that, along with the amount of storage space that's available to you, got people talking online, a lot of concern going around, but we'll go over that. And then we get to go over what appears to be a next generation sale already. Before these games are out, it looks like a certain store will have a buy two, get one free sale going on. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below. And we're gonna start today with Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's a game I'm really looking forward to next week on the PlayStation 5. I think I'm grabbing that game, Demon Souls, Sackboy, and I don't know about Godfall. I think I'm gonna hold off on Godfall a little bit. I'm kind of Destinied out from this generation. I've had enough Destiny-like games, but Spider-Man, absolutely. I think it's gonna bridge the gap between Spider-Man on the PS4 and Spider-Man 2 that surely is coming up in a year or two. Well, I'm sure we'll see that. So when I start hearing about there being potential spoilers online, I get a little nervous, and it has been confirmed now. You can see James over in Insomniac tweeting this out, a bit of a warning, saying, we're at that time when copies of the game start getting out into people's hands from all sorts of sources, so if you care about spoilers, whether they be for the story or suits we haven't shown, be careful. And the suit we've seen pretty recently from Spider-Verse, that's a pretty awesome suit. Like, they did the whole motion and different movement, what appeared to be almost like they had your character with a different frame rate almost, but it looked very much like it was completely out of the movie. Very cool stuff there, but the plot details, you're gonna want to avoid any spoilers for that. So if you're browsing the internet, make sure you have the blinders on, and if you see a thread pop up that says Miles Morales spoilers, and you're like, how would that be happening? The game's not out yet. People may already have it, and they might be actually talking about key plot points in the game, so be careful out there online. Oh, and if you're someone who is using a monitor right now for games, you may want to pay attention here to what resolution you're playing at, of course, and if you do have an option to change off of something like 1440p for a PlayStation 5, because it does appear that it will not be supporting that resolution natively in its settings. IGN Italy did manage to confirm this, and after translation, it appears that the PS5 will be using 1080p or 4K. You can pick between either one. Unfortunately, that means that anyone using a 1440p monitor for gaming will probably have to figure something else out, and it is unfortunate, but I have to imagine Sony probably did not prioritize 1440p since they do a lot of HD TVs. They, of course, have their new OLEDs coming out, all of this stuff that they want to push. They really don't really want to think about 1440p that much. It didn't really have any adoption in the TV space, just mostly 4K, and that is what Sony wants to push. If you go to different big box stores like Best Buy, they have the Sony experience set up in the theater room, and I'm sure the PS5 would become part of that. So Sony and 1440p, not really something they're mixing there. And I mean, we saw with the PS4 Pro, they had no interest in doing any of that. So I would figure, yeah, 4K is gonna be the way to go on this one. I don't think they're gonna add it, but I guess you never know. It could be a software update. I just wouldn't count on it. Also, the embargo for Yakuza Like a Dragon has now lifted. We have the Metacritic score here at an 84. This game had already been out in Japan for a little while now, but I have been playing it for the past week, and I have to say, it's actually really fun. I am really enjoying this game. I'm a little over 15 hours in now, and what I see it as is a big tongue-in-cheek parody of just overall JRPGs. It really, really is. They make fun of a lot of different elements of JRPGs. It's very fourth wall breaking, and it's Yakuza, so they do some wild and crazy and wacky stuff. But it keeps you engaged pretty much all the way through so far, for me anyway, with the first half of the story. And the characters are also different. They're very interesting. And it is going to be an Xbox Series X next-gen timed exclusive, so if you're someone picking up your Series X and you're into JRPGs, it's one I would check out. I mean, it's something to pick up that would at least be new for the Series X on launch day. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're starting right away with the PlayStation 5 and the amount of storage that will be available to you when you turn it on, because naturally that 825 gigabytes that's printed on the outside of the box, that won't actually be available to you. It appears that it will indeed be the original amount that we saw that was kind of speculated on because we saw what appeared to be a leak online that popped up, but we weren't sure if it was a dev kit or not. The retail units that are getting out there now, we've had some pictures taken of the screen itself. 664 gigabytes does appear to be confirmed now, and that is leaving a lot of questioning, of course. Will that be enough? Well, if we take a look at something like Call of Duty now, that got people a bit worried because originally, this is pretty funny, the back of the box was shown online, and even I was like, wow, that doesn't make any sense. That is a lot of space that you would need. I mean, take a look at this. This was posted up over on Twitter. This was by Gaming Leaks and Rumors, and it says 285 gigabytes with a picture of the back of the box. Now, the good news is that is not how much you will actually need if you get the new Call of Duty Cold War. It appears to be much less than that, and there are even options to shrink it further. Let's go over to Activision's site because they did clarify how much space you would need for each system. Now we can see the PlayStation 4 at 95 gigabytes, the PlayStation 5 at 133 gigabytes, the Xbox One at 93 gigabytes, and then the Xbox Series X and S 136 gigabytes. So you're gonna install this game and immediately be down to just over 530 gigabytes left over. Not great, but keep in mind this game is much, much larger on PC. And then if we go down below that, it looks like they will include the option to uninstall specific game mode packs such as campaign or zombies. That is good because you can reduce the overall file size then. Let's say campaign is 40 gigabytes. All of a sudden, the overall file size is under 100. I know it sounds crazy to be like, oh good, we got the file size under 100 gigabytes, but that's where we are with next gen. I'm a little surprised that the Series S will have the same file size as the Series X, since Microsoft mentioned that developers can take advantage of smart delivery and deliver smaller assets, the different textures, things that they can use to shrink the file size for that system that wouldn't necessarily take advantage of these large 4K textures. We're talking about 8K textures at times. I don't think the Series S needs any of that. So it is a shame on that end. But now we're also thinking right now, when is Sony gonna go over those NVMe drives? They mentioned that there would be some sort of list that we'd be able to pull from and decide, okay, if we do want to upgrade, because I mean, we're talking about some games now coming out this holiday, and then we're talking about all of next year having quite a few games from Sony. Maybe it will be time to upgrade, or at least the storage, or add an NVMe drive sooner rather than later. I'm a little surprised Sony hasn't mentioned anything, but I believe the embargo for the PS5 is coming up pretty soon, any day now, and maybe that's what they're waiting for. Once that embargo is up, a massive influx of information will hit just ahead of launch next week, and that's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, it's gonna be a lot of trial and error, where people like me buy a PCIe or an NVMe drive, Gen 4, and we just go, let's see if this works with the PS5. Next up, let's talk about a next generation sale that I'm a bit surprised about, because I thought we would get to like Black Friday and nothing would be on sale when it comes to next generation, like at all. Maybe headsets? I don't know, Xbox Live cards? There could be probably a few things, but like brand new games that just come out don't usually go on sale like a few days later. That's just not how it usually works here. And a lot of times having these systems in stock is basically a sale because they're gonna be very difficult to find this holiday. So I was a bit surprised when a circular ad started making the rounds for Target. Specifically, I saw it on Slick Deals, then people were passing it around and also sent it to me several times because it caught everyone off guard when they saw the front of it and then the inside that seemed to show PlayStation 5 games. Now you can see a few of the different pages here. This deal will be going November 8th to the 14th. Keep in mind, we do have the PS5 on the 12th and the Xbox Series systems on the 10th. So on the 12th, you should be able to go in store, especially if you're already picking up, or you're of course doing any shopping for accessories for the PS5 on the 12th when you get your PS5. And you can go through and apparently just pick some of these games out. Buy two, get one free naturally means that you would spend, $140 and get 3 games then. We're up to $70, keep that one in mind there. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War appears on this page. NBA 2K21 also appears here. And then on the inside, we also have Godfall for the PS5. And on top of that, this is mix and match. So apparently Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories will be in there, and Yakuza Like a Dragon, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I guess you could mix and match some of these together and actually leave with a pretty good amount of games at a decent price. So we are dealing, like I said, with that $70 price tag now. So this is a good way to soften the blow a bit here, especially if you were like me and you're already thinking about getting a lot of these games at launch. You know what? I'll probably swing by Target and pick a few games up this way. I don't know if there's a limit or how they're going to deal with all of that, but generally buy two, get one is something Target does like every year. I just thought it would have been like older titles or titles that didn't just come out. So we'll see how this all shakes out in store, because there's a chance that they even separate some of them and you can't get Godfall as a buy two, get one. It was a misprint in their circular, but it's there. So I'll take a shot at it. We'll see if we can get some of these games at a cheaper price. You know what? I will take Godfall for free. How about that? Next up, let's talk about a clever solution that people are kind of coming up with now for the Xbox Series X and the Series S with that Seagate memory card. It's a little expensive, isn't it? You look at it, you go, it's so small. It's like $220. As a lot of people who go into the stores aren't really going to necessarily understand why it's so expensive, but the technology is built in there and they have their CF Express slot and all of this stuff. But what if we could take that slot and adapt it to some of the NVMe drives we may already have? Because they're not really pushing anything too crazy in terms of speed. Maybe we could get away with using our own drive in this system. Well, it looks like some people are going to be trying this. I had Tyler over on Twitter point this out to me. You can see his tweet here. Simple experiment for fun. I just got these PCBs back from the fab. This is a CF Express to M.2 adapter for the Xbox Series X and Series S expansion port. Hoping here that we'll be able to use those M.2 NVMe drives. That's really, really cool. Here's the issue I have with this. It's that a lot of times, Microsoft, what they do with their hard drives in the Xbox One X or the One S, any of that, there's a lot of little partitions in there that essentially verify the drive for use with the Xbox. We eventually figured that out, and there is a whole program you can use to essentially partition the drive exactly as Microsoft would, and then it works. That's how people replace their mechanical drive inside of their Xbox One with an SSD, or just upgrade to a larger size overall internally for the system. So I do wonder if the Seagate card itself has something like that, because otherwise then this wouldn't necessarily work right away. We'd have to figure out how it's partitioned and then do the same thing with our own NVMe drive. Now, the fun part about this is it looks like anyone can really try this if they want to send away the files and have the boards fabricated. There's an entire blog post you can see here detailing this a bit further with the M.2 adapter, now with better signal, power integrity, and open source. So technically, you could try it if you want. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Tyler comes up with. I think he's gonna try it out and see if it works. And if it does, maybe we'll do a whole video trying it, different NVMe drives in the Xbox Series X with a memory card adapter. It's a very odd thing to see coming out of the back of the Series X and the Series S, but it could give us some options. And our last bit of news, let's talk about SEGA Sammy and their arcade business in Japan. Unfortunately, things have not been going very well for their arcade business, and after a couple of press releases were put out there, we did have them translated from Japanese. It looks like they are actually selling off the vast majority of it, 85.1% to Genda. Let's go over here to Reddit, where they did translate all of this for us, put it into nice bullet points, all of that. SEGA to leave their arcade management business, sold 85.1% of shares to Genda. Now, this, as they say, is the SEGA Entertainment division that's being sold off. Some of the arcade names have Club SEGA, SEGA World, High Tech Land, etc. 199 entertainment facilities will be included here, and a lot of this had to do with COVID, but they did have occupancy rates declining before then. The pandemic just made it way worse. Now, I want to stress, this won't have anything to do with their overall game division, publishing, development, nothing like that. But this was a pretty big business for SEGA for quite some time. A lot of people would point out the big SEGA signs in Japan if you go and visit, and you see them all over the place. People played arcade games quite a bit there. But naturally, if people don't want to go out and they don't want to go to public areas, it's going to decline. Now, I'm not really sure what Genda is going to be doing with all of this stuff. It sounds like they kind of run their own amusement arcade facilities and they do rentals and all of this. So maybe they're thinking they could pick up a lot of extra stock cheap and rent it out, or maybe they're doing a bit better right now with the whole situation. Hard to say there, but it is a shame because they have a storied history with arcades in Japan. SEGA Sammy does. So this is them basically pulling back and ending a pretty big chapter in their company. It sounds like they're going to report an extraordinary loss when they do have financial reports coming up, I believe, this week. So we'll see how serious that loss is, but it's not one that would then come back later on and be a recurring thing. They just had to get out from under this, and at least they found a buyer, I guess, for it. It's a shame to see this, obviously, the arcade business going away a bit further in Japan now, with SEGA Sammy closing out and selling off 85.1% of their stock for it. Now it appears that they're keeping, I guess, pachinko machines, some crane games and stuff around, but nothing like it used to be before with those big SEGA signs pointing to all kinds of cool machines there. So shame to see, but there we go. SEGA Sammy basically getting out of the arcade business there in Japan. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Willie saying, also with computer games, especially with Steam, 90% of the games in my library were bought on some type of sale. It feels less bad that you can't trade it in when you get it for 75% off. Steam is very good at that. Every time you log into Steam, something on sale for like 75, 80, 90% off. And then they have those Steam summer sales, the winter sale, the autumn sale. They just want to have sales all the time. And it's a good way to do it. We have seen more and more digital sales. I will say this, on the Switch, on the Xbox, on the PlayStation. That's become more common, but I do wonder if we completely get away from physical goods, where those will be on sale a lot as well, and we have used games, there are things we can do there to cut down the price for physical games. I almost wonder if it was all digital, if we would get those kind of sales, because they'd have to be less, they wouldn't have to be competitive with the physical games. Something to think about there. But yeah, that's why a lot of people's Steam libraries are massive, because they buy games for $1 or $2 and then they forget about them and throw them in their Steam library. I guess it works out for Valve and the developers or the publishers because they get their game out there, but then sometimes they just never get played. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike, leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Whether it's the storage size available, 664 gigabytes appears to have been confirmed for the PlayStation 5, and then over 130 gigabytes for Call of Duty. Are you concerned that your PS5 is gonna fill up really, really quickly and you're gonna start looking into different NVMe drives we can use in the system? Let me know what you think about that one. And then, of course, what about this sale for next gen? Are you thinking, wow, okay, maybe I will get Godfall if I can get it for free? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.